Hello, everyone. We are so glad to have you here. We are just going to give a few moments for everyone to come in. If you guys would share a little bit about your business, tell us your name, a little bit about your business, we'd love to hear it. You can write that down in the chat. If you're just joining us, we're just giving everyone a few moments to come in before we get started. But please share a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your business in the chat. We're so happy to have you.
I'd love to know if you're using Facebook or Instagram currently, if you're using a little bit, if you're using it extensively, and if you'd like to share your handles, you can do that. Free advertisement for yourself.
All right, we have a lot of people signed up, so we're just giving everyone just a moment to pop in, but we'll get started in just about 30 seconds. All right, we are so excited to have you all here. Thank you so much for joining us on your lunch break. We're so happy to have you. Uh, Welcome. My name is Rachel. I am the marketing and communication. I am the marketing and communications person here at the Small Business Development Center. Oh, my sincere apologies. I just had all my computer freeze all of a sudden. Welcome. You are here for Facebook and Instagram Basics. We're so happy to have you. You will be getting a copy of the presentation as well as a follow-up email that includes the copy of the presentation and a recording. The Temple SBDC helps small businesses to start, grow, and succeed. We do this through our no-cost consulting and a variety of no-cost webinars and training programs like the one you're attending today. All of our attendees have been muted, but we encourage you to post any questions you have in the Q&A. I am going to share my screen now so that we can get started. All right, can anyone see my screen? No, not yet. There we go. There we go.
Yep.
All right, so welcome. You're here for Facebook and Instagram Basics. I first just want to tell you a little bit about the Small Business Development Center at Temple. We're hosted by the Fox School of Business, and we've been serving the small businesses of Philadelphia, Eastern Montgomery, and Lower Bucks counties since 1983. We aim to be a place where all members of our small business community can grow, develop, and thrive. We prioritize diversity, equity, and inclusion to ensure that everyone is part of a positive and respectful environment. It's a benefit to our whole small business community when we can surround ourselves with different types of perspectives. We do offer some truly wonderful services here at the SBDC. So if this is your first time interacting with us, I just want to briefly tell you about some of the services we offer. If you've been here before, if you're a veteran, then you can zone out for 30 seconds. First off, we do one-on-one consulting where you're paired with a small business specialist who acts as your advisor. What's special about our consulting is that it's not one-off. It's not meeting once, addressing a problem, and that's it. Your consultant stays your consultant for as long as you work with the SBDC. So they check in with you regularly and you're able to develop a relationship with that consultant. Consultants can help you with a host of small business considerations, think business planning, marketing, research, financial management, and procurement. It really runs the whole gamut. Aside from consulting, we offer tons of training programs and webinars like the one you're attending today. We offer training on everything from choosing the correct legal formation for your business, social media, cybersecurity, and a whole host of other webinars on all types of business considerations. We offer clinics, long form courses, and also a branding clinic, which can help you with creative services. A little bit about me. I'm Rachel. I am the marketing communication specialist here at Temple. I have a bachelor's degree in advertising, and I also got my MBA last year. I manage all of the marketing for the SBDC, including our content strategy, and that includes our social media content strategy. I've been living in Philly for a decade, and I just absolutely love being able to check out all of the unique small businesses all over the city. And now I'm going to pass it off to Jamie to tell you a little bit about herself.
Thanks, Rachel. Hey, everybody. I am Jamie Schenker-Passero. I am our Director of Programs, and I've been at the SBDC for 5 years. Normally, I oversee most of our training, partnership, and grant writing, but I really do enjoy this presentation. This has been adapted from something I put together like a very long time ago, even before we were really using Instagram. So it is very modernized, I promise. So for today, and we can move to the agenda, the first thing that I wanted to say is I want to make sure that you are here for the right program. It is important to us when we market and advertise our programs that everybody understands what the content is going to be, the level of what we're going to be discussing, because we really do some super beginner and some intermediate and some advanced, but usually we're going to have beginner and intermediate with our training programs. So we want to always make sure that you are in the right place. For today, this is basics. This is Facebook and Instagram basics. So I saw somebody post in the chat something about algorithm. We're not really going to get into that piece of it. This is, if you are not really sure how to set up your account, how to post, how to schedule, thinking about content, thinking about tools to make gathering content easier, that's really what we're doing today. We consider this super basic. So if you are already posting, you're already scheduling, you're using Hootsuite, this might not be the right session for you. So we just want to be super clear about that and not waste anybody's time. But for those of you who said that you're not using both platforms yet, I'm seeing some of that. Some folks who just are not, what are we seeing in the chat? Some people are really not using social media at all. That seems like you are in the right place. So that's important to me, that your time is spent well. So like I said, today we're going to cover the basics of really getting started, thinking about what to post, how to post, and then what I think are really important takeaways are a few tricks to make that easier and less intimidating for you. Because I hear that all the time. I've heard that for ages, that finding the time when you have so many hats to do this is kind of like the last priority, and I get it. So some takeaways on how to make that easier for you, we'll go over at the end. First question for you is, rhetorical. Do you have people in your life who use Facebook and Instagram? Probably you do. If you don't, let me know, because that would blow my mind if you have nobody in your life who uses Facebook and Instagram. This is the world we live in. So let's talk a little bit about social media. We know that it is everywhere. We know that people are on their phones kind of all the time, right? People are on their computers. And social media is a tool for people as well as businesses to communicate with each other. One important point is that your social media should really always filter back to your website as often as possible. So think of these as little like satellites to bring customers back to your website. Ultimately, that's what matters. Ultimately, speaking of algorithm, which I said it wouldn't, but thinking about what Google likes is kind of what we, with marketing, at least with web-based marketing, we always want to think what's going to make Google happy. Whether we like it or not, that's the reality that we live in. So anything that gets folks back to your website is going to make Google happy and get you listed higher on their ranking. So page 1, right? That's always where we want to be. So let's see, over 3 billion social media users, and we'll go a little bit into statistics, but I think it's hopefully it's obvious to you as a business owner that whether we like it or not, social media is here to stay and it is an important tool to connect with customers. It is also not only just for sales and marketing, right? It's also just become a standard tool for looking like a professional business owner. So I think as customers, and think about yourself as a customer, right? Do we expect that the businesses we're going to patronize have a social media presence? We might, it's depending on the industry, but that the answer may likely be yeah. And if we don't see a business, like if we don't see a restaurant posting pictures of their food on Instagram, we're like, huh, that feels a little weird to us. So this is just the reality of the times that we're living in, that it's almost just become a point of professionalism. You know, it's just kind of like a legitimate business is going to have at least some web presence. So if all of the 3 million users haven't convinced you, think about it that way, right? And if I haven't convinced you and you're still on the fence about that, post it in the chat, post in the Q&A. Let's have a little healthy debate about it. Again, I'm speaking very, very generally. We have a lot of other classes on marketing specifically, because really the initial question, and we're not going to get into this as much today, but the initial question before thinking about any social media channel is, where are my customers? And we'll talk a little bit about demographics, like I said, but if Facebook is worth your time, the answer to that is, are my customers on there? Same thing with Instagram. Are my customers there? That's the question. So today we are we're focusing on Facebook and Instagram. Obviously, there are other platforms. There's Pinterest, there's LinkedIn, there's X. We're focusing on Facebook, and there's YouTube, right? We're focusing on Facebook and Instagram today. So let's talk about just some quickly. Facebook has over 2.7 billion active users. That's a lot, right? We have people who are using it for personal reasons. We have folks, and now we have people with business pages. Back in the day, you couldn't even, a business page wasn't even a thing. And now it's kind of everything. There's a whole platform just specifically for businesses within Facebook. Looking at demographics of Facebook, like I said, next slide. What are we seeing? What are we seeing? We're seeing 56%, these are pretty updated statistics, 56% are male. It's kind of like 50-50. I like to look at the age group when we're thinking about social media. I think that's a pretty helpful stat when we're thinking about our own target market for our business and where we want to put our time and efforts into in terms of social media. So 30% of Facebook users belong to the 25 to 34 age group. And I would really recommend even doing a deeper dive and looking at the general kind of like age statistics. I think that could be helpful. And so let's go to, so I think we're thinking that the primary age range is 13 to 50 for Facebook. Now, looking at Instagram, we can go to the next slide. Certainly Instagram is booming with 1 billion active users and so many tools for business owners. It is undeniably popular, right? So there are Instagram has tools like Instagram Live, Stories, Reels. Those are all kind of like beginner plus, I would say, if we're thinking about it. Not necessarily what we're going to cover today, but we're considering, and we can take questions about that at the end if we have time. I just want to make sure that that we're covering everything. Instagram is obviously a visual platform. Facebook has become certainly a much more visual platform where photos and videos are getting more attention. And let's look at the demographics for Instagram. We are seeing that it's pretty split versus gender. The age is probably going to be a bit younger than Facebook. And that makes sense of what you might expect. But then you really, this is your homework to do, is figuring out who your target market is, what's their age, what's their gender, what are they doing, where are they spending their time. So that brings us to another kind of market research activity. So first we talked about doing your target market research. That's an important part of every business plan. We do have a business planning class at the SBDC. And we're always going to ask you to do a little bit of research there. Who's your target market and where are they? Another research detective work that you should do as a small business owner is your competition research, competition analysis. So one way that you can do that specifically when it comes to social media, and you can do this for supply chain, you can check out what your competitors are doing for pricing, their staffing models. There's a lot of great research. We always recommend doing a competition analysis, but we're talking about social media today. So an easy activity that you can do is pick 5 competitors, make sure that a few are local, and do maybe like even write a little spreadsheet for yourself, or you can just take mental notes if that works for you. What platforms are they using? Which has the most followers? What strategies are they using? And which are getting the most engagement, right? So if they're doing something and it's not getting a lot of attention, not getting a lot of engagement, maybe that's a tool to stay away from. If there are certain photos or videos that are doing well, maybe you are, let's see, let me look and see who we have here. I think somebody said something about a furniture shop. Did I get that right? Okay, someone has a lingerie business. So look at your competitors, right? Are they doing top tips for fittings, right? And that's getting a lot of engagement. See what's working and borrow it, right? That's what we can do. So that's an activity that I recommend everybody do. Let's see, what day is today? Wednesday. So maybe by the weekend, that's your homework, is to do this little activity. You will do yourself a favor by doing that. Now, we mentioned that this webinar is for very early beginner usage of Facebook and Instagram. So what we think that sometimes it's helpful to actually do a demo. We'll do a few today. Rachel and I will tag team. We think demos are really helpful for people who just have maybe that intimidation factor of I don't even know what this looks like. I'm like scared I'm going to push the wrong buttons. So for our first demo, we want to talk to you about getting started on Facebook. If you have never set up your Facebook page, Facebook, I believe, still requires you to have a personal page first. Is that true, Rachel? That's still the case?
Yes, you got to have a personal page.
Some people don't like that, but don't worry. You don't necessarily have to have your full name. You don't have to have your real picture. You can use it almost zero, right? But on the other hand, we usually recommend that you do use it because that will help you understand the language of Facebook. It will help you just be an observer for a little bit before you start posting as your business. So that's always my recommendation. Again, you can give out so little personal information. If that privacy piece is important to you, that is okay. Put your middle name, put your dog's name, put a picture of your dog. You can do that, right? But still you can be a lurker and see how people are talking and sharing. I do think that's important before even dabbling into your business account. All right, so we're going to set it up facebook.com/business. We're putting in photos. We're inviting friends. The other advantage to having that personal page is then you can build up your friend list. So let's say you have 100, 200 families and friends, and then you can say, hey, friends, I started a business page. Please like me on Facebook, right? Because if you don't have that, it's a lot harder to get that first grouping of folks to be followers of your page. So I think I'll hand it over to Rachel to do a demo and show you what this looks like from our end in terms of where things are located on your Facebook screen.
Absolutely. All right. So I am pulling up my personal Facebook page now. So just give me a moment to share that screen with you. Alrighty. So you should all now be able to see my Facebook page. This is my personal Facebook page. So I want to also just give you all the heads up. You're getting a behind the scene look at my personal Facebook page. So clearly one of my friends is getting married. So I am going to show you guys how to create your business page on Facebook. Like Jamie mentioned, in order to have a business page, you have to have that personal page. So you're not going to be able to create a business page without a personal page, but it doesn't have to be, I don't really use Facebook anymore. It doesn't have to be an active page. It just has to be a page. So what you're going to do is over here in this right-hand corner, you'll see this menu. You're going to click that and you'll see this little flag that says pages. It says discover and connect with businesses on Facebook. So you're going to click on that page. It's going to bring up a bunch of pages that are suggested to you, but it's also going to give you the option to create your own page. So that's what you're going to do. You're trying to create your own page for your business. So you're going to click create new page, and this is what it's going to bring up. First, you're just going to put in your business name, a little bit about what you do, and you're also going to choose your category. So, I'm going to do Rachel's Bakery. So then the category, you can start to type something that is your business's category, and it'll start to feed you options. So I'm going to look for bakery, and there we go. So perfect. That's my category. And then if I want to do a little bio, sweet treats and coffee. And that'll show up right under there. So then you're going to hit create page down here at the bottom. Be aware that, when you are creating that page, you're agreeing to all of that, little text about all of the different policies that Facebook has. So you'll create the page. It'll take a few seconds as it loads. Then it's going to help get you set up to finish creating your page. So now you have the very beginning of your page. Now you're going to put in all of your information. So you're going to put in your website if you have one. If you have a phone number, you can add one. And if you have an email. All right, well, you have to put in a valid phone number, but we'll just make sure that you put in a real phone number. You'll put in an email if you have one. If not, you can leave it empty. You're also going to put in your address. If you're an e-commerce based business, you don't have to put in an address, but if you have one, then you'll definitely want to put it in. If you have hours, or if you're always open, or you don't want to display hours, you just choose that right there. Then you're going to hit next.
No, people really like to see accurate hours. It's an important, especially if you have a brick and mortar, really important.
Obviously, you're going to want to work a little bit harder on your actual business page than what I'm writing in. I just want to make sure that you guys can see where everything is and what the process looks like. You'll hit next. Okay, so you're going to have to put in a phone number. Okay, so then you're going to add a profile picture, and you're also going to add a cover photo. So your cover photo is this big gray block right here, and your profile picture is the small picture that you see on your normal Facebook page when you have a picture of yourself. The recommended way for a business page to do it almost always is use your logo for your profile picture, and then use something that makes sense with your business in the cover photo. So I will click that. It's going to pull up your file explorer, and you can just open that and upload it. And you'll see this has the bakery. And make sure that when you're designing your cover photo, that you remember that it's always going to have a little bit of it covered with your profile picture. So make sure that any words that you have, any critical pieces of the design are above the profile picture. We're going to pop, let's pop a profile picture in here. I'm just going to use the same picture. But for you would make sure that you have your actual logo there to use. You're going to hit next.
Formatting that in the right specs is really important because our customers have come to expect that it looks right. And if it looks stretched out or weird, that's going to make you look less professional.
Absolutely. And you can use, if you guys are not familiar, Canva is a great free tool, a great free graphic design tool that you can use to create all types of graphics for your business, including your Facebook cover photo and all the other things that you might want to be putting on Facebook, maybe those Facebook graphics. If you're interested in learning more about Canva, we do a class on Canva about once a quarter.
Rachel does an amazing job. If you have a recording of that, can you pop it in the chat when you get a chance later?
Yeah, I'll find that for you guys and you can see the recording. It's not to my own horn, but it's a fun one. If you have a WhatsApp for your business, then you can connect it here. Obviously, I don't for my made up bakery, so I'm going to skip this. Then you're going to invite friends. So this is a great way to get started building up the followers on your business account is by inviting the friends that you already have on your personal account to follow. So you'll click invite friends, search for a friend that you have, and then send an invite over to them. And now they've been invited to follow your page. And if you have great friends who love to support the entrepreneurs in their life, then they will give your Facebook page a follow. Finally, you're going to set up the notifications for your page, and that just makes it so that you are staying alert of anything that's happening, anyone that's interacting with your page. So I always recommend turning on page notifications, which just lets you know what's going on with the actual page. This one you can turn off if you're not so inclined to receiving promotional and marketing emails from Facebook. But if you want to stay up to date with, all the new products coming out from Facebook, then feel free to turn it back on. And then you'll just hit done and you're going to have a live page. I am not going to hit done because, as I told you, this is my personal Facebook page. So I'm not going to hit done. But if you did hit done, you would immediately have your business page. Do we have any questions? Yeah, it doesn't look like it. So just wanted to make sure. Oh, I do see a question. If you have too many different business pages on Facebook, would you like to delete a few of them? How do you remove or delete Facebook pages? I believe that you can just delete them
Let's
in
do
the
publishing
page.
at
Yeah.
the end if we have time.
All right, perfect.
There should be a way to delete. Let's. Can you see my screen?
I can. It's in the sort of like
Rachel,
Teams.
can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it. It's in sort of the like Teams
Rachel,
background.
can you see my screen?
Can you not hear me?
Yeah, I think my connection went weird for a while. Okay, so Rachel's gonna pull up for our Facebook account to do our next demo on how to actually share content. But while she's pulling that up, I'm going to share my screen so we can talk about the similar process for Instagram. Rachel did the demo about Facebook using her computer. For Instagram, it really is formatted for phone usage. So the setup it is far easier on your phone. And it's very simple to make it very easy to set it up. I would say it's even when you're basically following these steps to put your basic information, and then you can also signify if you want it to be a business page or not. If you set it up as a business page, you have a lot more insights into how users things like that. And you can have multiple Instagram accounts. You can connect your Instagram to your Facebook. You already have a Facebook. Usually a good idea to do that. I'm going to talk about sharing content later. If you don't envision yourself a regular content poster, you may want to enable the cross post book. That's an option to consider. So I'm not going to go too much into the sign up for Instagram because it is pretty easy. And there also are some but they're just going to ask you for some prompts. They're going to send you an email with a confirmation code. You'll put that back in. You'll type in your name, birthday, your username, which try to get it as close to your business name as possible. You may have to add, and maybe if that name is already taken, consider adding your street address. But you really do want it to be clear that this is your business's account. All right, Rachel, do you want to show? So our next slide is on how to actually post. Are you keyed up there? Let me check the chat.
Absolutely. Yep. Let me share my screen.
Somebody asked a question about personal and changing it to business. For Instagram, yes, you can do that. For Facebook, it needs to be separate. But for Instagram, you can set up an account and then later switch it to a business page.
All right. So this is now you're getting a behind the scenes look at the Temple SBD's account. And I'm going to show you how you can post on your Facebook and even on your Instagram. So you'll have a little shortcut that you can set up to get directly to your business page. And there's a few different ways that you can post. So this is our Facebook page here. You can see it's an easy way to get started. Sorry, 1 second. Here we go. So you can see all of your posts coming up here. This is where you'll be able to respond. If people are commenting, you can comment. But there's also ways that you can set up to post your own information. Up here at the top, you have what's on your mind. And that's a great place. If you have an idea and you want to post something, you can simply just post. There you go. And then you would hit post and it would show right up. If you want, you can add different media options. So you could add a photo or a video or check in at a specific location. And that's one way for you to create a post right up on your business account. But you can also schedule posts ahead of time, which is an amazing way to make things easy for you. So you can go into, like I said there, this is the business suite, and that takes you into the scheduler. And so now you can see this is sort of like the back end of your business page. And so you can set up posts for the future so that you don't have to, you're all busy entrepreneurs. It's not necessarily super easy to be able to hop in and post at the right time on the right day all the time. So scheduling your social out is a great way to make sure that your content is going up, that you have great content scheduled regularly without having to hop in every time. So you just hit the day that you want and it'll pull up this option for you to schedule. So you can choose the time, you can choose the date. It'll give you recommended times based on when your specific followers are the most active. Obviously, when you first get started, they might not give you as many recommended times, but as you start to grow, as you're posting regularly, they'll start to give you recommendations on when you can post. You can also schedule posts for your Instagram account because Instagram and Facebook are linked. So you are able to schedule both at one time. You can do the same kind of thing that you did if you were going to set up a post right away from the page. Type it in, choose any like stuff you want to add in there. And you can also see a preview of what that post is going to look like when it's actually published. You can, from here, decide, actually, I don't want this posted on Instagram. I only want it posted on Facebook, or vice versa, post it only on Instagram, not on Facebook. And then you just hit schedule and you have the post scheduled out in advance so that you have great content that you are putting up for your business without having to log in and do it all on your own without, having to sit in and do it during bedtime or during dinner. This is a great way to schedule lots of your content all at once ahead of time.
I like to say, how about Sunday night? Can you do an hour? You can do an hour on Sunday night to schedule out at least 3 posts for the week. You can do it. And then Rachel, can you quickly show tagging?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So if you want to tag businesses, if you want to tag someone who is sharing your content, this is a great way to use social media as it was originally intended, which is to be a social network where it's not just you yelling into the void, you are talking to other people, you are communicating with partners or potential customers.
Your neighborhood CDC. Yeah.
So what you'll start to do is you can just write right there in the text. I'll do it one more time so that you can see it happening. You're going to put the @ symbol, and then you'll start typing who you're planning on posting. So you can start to type it in, and it will start to bring up recommendations for you. So say that you want to work, or you're working with the Philadelphia Phillies, maybe you're working with the Philadelphia Chamber of Commerce. You keep typing it in. Eventually, it's going to pop up the right number for you. And then you can simply tag them, click on it, and now you are tagging them. So they'll get an alert. Their followers will be more likely to see your post. They can share your post. They can like and comment on your post. And it's a great way to, get all of your partners involved and keep social media feeling very social.
Let me give you just a real way that we use it at the SBDC. So we will bring in partners on different events. We'll have co-hosts and vice versa. We will tag that partner, and then they, the algorithms again. You never know if an entity is going to see it or not. If you tag them, then they will see it because they get a notification. If someone sees it, they're more likely to engage. Engagement could be a comment, a like, or a reshare. Those are kind of the main ways. So it increases the likelihood that whoever you've tagged will engage in some way. Engagement is always a good thing and encourages more engagement. So that's kind of like the purpose of tagging. Similar, and the same thing for Instagram. It's the @ symbol and what their handle is. Just make sure that you know that what their handle is for Facebook and Instagram, it might be different. So for example, on Instagram, we are at Temple SBDC, and Facebook.
Yeah, we're Temple Small Business Development Center.
So looks a little bit different. Does anybody have questions on the very basics of posting and scheduling before we move on and talk a little bit more about content? If so, post them in the chat, please. Looks like some folks have raised their hands. Okay. I think we are up to slide 22. If you schedule a post to both, you have to tag both. That's a tricky one. If you schedule a post in Facebook and you wanted to share to Instagram and tag, you might have to just go back and tag it manually. Rachel, do you have better?
Yeah, so you might have to tag it manually. What you can do is once you have created a post, you can then make edits to each individual post so that you can make changes based on if it's going up to Facebook or going onto Instagram. So you can start by creating one post that has them both. Once it's scheduled, you'll have individual posts that you can go in and edit for each platform. So that's how I would recommend it.
All right, are you able to get us to slide 22? We'll answer some more questions. I just want to make sure we get through the majority of the content. All right, so we showed you the how. Now we're going to talk about the what. This is something that we hear as well, as I have this type of business. Do I even have content? Probably you do. So someone posted in the Q&A about a physical therapy business. Does it make sense to be on social media? And I said, it really depends. If you're looking to recruit new clients, and potentially, and I gave her an example of a local business that I know that does a pretty good job on social media. And what do they share? They share moves. They share, like, here's a stretch. here's a good exercise, here's a health tip, right? So let's go to the next slide and talk about we have to think about what to share and what not to share. And this gets tricky. We'll get into the what to share. That's almost easier. The what not to share is really tricky. You all have to think about what is important to you as a business owner in terms of your personal beliefs. We can't make that decision for you. We can just say that it may have an impact, and you have to be comfortable with what that impact is in terms of what you are willing to share in terms of politics or anything else. It's something to be very mindful of. You can have very strong personal views and not necessarily tie that into your business, but maybe it makes sense to tie it into your business. We cannot be the ones to say. It's very personal. You can certainly talk that over with your consultant at the SBDC, right? You can say, hey, I have some strong views on this. I'm thinking about a campaign for my business where 10% of proceeds of this item goes to this cause that I feel strongly about. What do you think of that? So think about it, though, when it comes to posting things that are political, religious in nature. Just think about it first and think about what the impact is, and if it makes sense for you, do it. Now, thinking more about what to share. So like the example with the physical therapy business, you really want to think about being that your accounts become a source of advice and expertise in whatever that industry is. You always want to make sure that it's not about marketing and selling all the time. Instagram is it can be a little bit more that way, but generally think about ways that you can tie in. Oh, here's a cool product that I'm posting a picture of, but here's a tip about something else. Tips, industry trends are always really happy. Behind this are always really well received. Pictures, video, obviously Instagram, there's no choice there. Although you can do you can do a pretty words like a testimonial. You can make it pretty in Canvas. That can become a post. It doesn't necessarily have to be a photo, right? You can get creative in that way. People actually respond well to that. But visually, Facebook is becoming much more visual as well. Behind the scenes, super popular. So seeing what your staff is doing, tips from your staff, testimonials, what your customers are doing, and as long as you are properly citing where it came from, sharing news or resources from other sources generally works pretty well. The obvious content would be particular to your business: new items, deals, coupons, holiday specials. Be creative, and again, see what your competition is doing. That's where you can get so many great ideas from. Find accounts that are like your business, even if they are across the country, right? There could be another physical therapy place in California doing an awesome job doing mini office stretches in 90 seconds. And you're like, wow, this is getting such engagement. I want to do my own, right? Nothing wrong with that. Look at what your friends are liking, what they're sharing with you, what your customers are liking. So hopefully that gives you some ideas. And then like I said, you really want to think about not being overly promotional, because that comes off as not as authentic. What our customers like to see is businesses who are more well-rounded. So you want your general communication, your percentage of sharing about things other than buy to be a little bit higher than the buy part, which is hard. But we're going to go over some ways to help you source that. Don't expect that if you just put your content out there, that's enough. The other tricky part about social media is being engaged, right? So engaging with other people's posts, engaging with, like I said, if you are a brick and mortar and you have a CDC, a community development corporation, a business improvement district, a business association, you can engage with them and the other members. That's pretty easy. When it comes to responding, we actually did a whole workshop on this. When it comes to responding to folks, maybe they post a comment and say that they had a bad experience or a good experience, or they post on an online review platform, kind of think about what your strategy might be. Do you have the time and energy to respond to every positive comment and say, hey, thanks for your review, like copy paste? I don't necessarily believe that that's super helpful. On Instagram, It does help with engagement if you engage fairly frequently with your commenters. It's really a matter of prioritizing your time. And you can chat with our consultants about that strategy as well, especially if you're like, all I have is an hour a week. Maybe it doesn't make sense. With negative reviews, my number one rule is always take that conversation offline. Say, I'm sorry for that experience. Please message us. Please private message us. Please email us. Please call us. If it's very obvious that this was not, that they're talking about an experience that didn't happen at your location, like they're talking about burgers, but you're a flower store, you should definitely post that publicly as well. Just say, hey, I think you reviewed the wrong establishment. That's not what we do. We don't have a John Henry employed here. I think that you're reviewing the wrong place. That's always good to post publicly. Generally, keep your vibe positive. And I know we're going through this quickly, just I want to make sure that we cover everything. But we can go back and talk a little bit about content if there are questions in the Q&A, no problem. But I do really, really want to highlight those resources that I mentioned that we hear all the time, I don't have enough time. So let's get into some strategies for that. The first one we already went over, which is scheduling. Rachel showed us how to do that through Facebook directly, through their Meta platform, but there are also a lot of tools that have free versions. So Hootsuite and Buffer are tools that you can consider to help monitor your different platforms. You can get more specific with posting with tweaks on different platforms using those tools. Do we still use Hootsuite actively, Rachel?
Yeah.
Awesome. So those are some tools to consider. They just make the scheduling a bit easier. That's really their prime function. We talked about Canva as a tool to help you with your graphics. Canva can even help you with Instagram Reels, Instagram Stories. They have templates for all of that. They do have a free version, and there are other sites that you can use for free graphics, visuals to make whatever you're doing look a little bit more professional. And then we included some links on Facebook and Instagram Basics. So you'll be able to see that when we send out the presentation. Another tool that I really like for obtaining content, there are two that I'm going to share. It can seem overwhelming, like, oh man, I have to come up with something else today. I'm running out of ideas. I don't have anything to share. Here are some tools for your toolkit. The first one, and this is not on screen, but the first one is you can easily look up online 30-day social media challenge and you don't have to do all 30, right? But day one could be share a tip. Day two is share a behind the scenes. Day three is share a testimonial, and that can kind of take a little bit of the need to be creative out of it. So there are a lot of those out there that you can just Google and say, oh, here's an idea that I can do in this day. Here's an idea that you can do in this day, and pick and choose. So you're not having to come up with everything. The next tool is really about sourcing your content. If you do not already have Google Alerts set up, you should certainly do this for your business and for anything that somebody would search related to your business. So let's say you have you are an accountant and your business is called Philly Tax Gals. Make sure that you set an alert up for that exact phrase, because that means anytime there is an article on that, you will get an alert for that. And you can set it up to send them to you once a week, once a day, or every time that comes up in a search. You can do that. You can also search for terms that relate to things that you might want to share. So, for example, tax law, Pennsylvania. Maybe you want to have a Google alert so that anytime there's something new in the news and it comes up on Google, you will get a notification. And then you could say, oh, hey, this is really important. I'm going to write a blog post about it and then share it. Let's say you are in health and wellness. There are some keywords. Let's say you're in, let's say you have a mushroom supplement, right? So you might want to have that. Maybe you want to have, maybe it's mushroom gals is your business name. Have that as one alert, and then have mushroom supplement recipes as a Google alert and others, because that way, anytime an article is written, you will get a notification, and then you'll have new content to share. Hopefully that makes sense. This is totally free. The next one is also free, which is Feedly. This is like a bookmark for all of your online sources that you search. So you can set this up and have all of your favorite websites on there. And anytime a new article is posted, you will see all of the new ones. So this is helpful for anything in your industry. You can put a few up there. You can see our example is business related. So if there's an article on entrepreneurship, we would see that and then we can share it with our thoughts and suggestions as it relates to that article. This is a super helpful tool. So let's say you are a chef and you could gather blogs of other chefs or recipe creators that you like. Yes, these webinars are recorded. And you can have them all in one place and you'll see which ones you've seen and which ones are new. Pretty simple, and that is free. So I think that is a good one to have in your toolkit. The last piece of content before we get to a few minutes of questions would be advertising and setting up an online store using Instagram. So we looked into Meta. I know that it can look a little intimidating and we don't have time to fully get into it, but we just wanted to show it to you, poke around in there, get comfortable with it. It really is there to give you some data. Data is great as a business owner. You can use both tools for free without any financial resources other than your time, right? You can look and see, oh, my customers are looking at my stuff in the morning. I didn't know that. I was posting a lot at lunchtime. Use that information for your benefit, right? That's free to figure all of that out. What is not free, or you can also say, oh, they really like when I post videos. Videos are doing so much better than pictures. That's great to know. They really like, they're not liking when I share blog articles. Okay, I'm going to do that a little bit less frequently. That's all free. What is not free are ads and boosts. Those and think about an ad as really just a general promotion for, at least in Facebook, for your business page to get your business page more eyes. If you're doing a boost, that's for a specific post. So maybe you have a Black Friday sale and you want that specific post that you shared to have more eyes on it. That's what you can do. Be really careful when you're putting in how much money you'd like to serve. You can have set spend, you can have an overall budget, or you can budget by the day. Most importantly is utilizing the targeting. I really like how Facebook spells it all out for you. It helps you think about who your target market is if you haven't thought about it. These are all the questions that we would ask you as your business consultants. The age, where they're located, and kind of what your radius is, right? Like if you're hyper local, you can keep that radius pretty small and that'll make more of an impact within that area, right? So marketing dollars can only go so far if your target market is everyone. But if the more you narrow down geography, age, gender, activity levels, the more powerful that $100 of marketing will go, because Facebook will ensure that that $100 is being seen by the type of people who need to see your ad. So never do an ad without utilizing targeting. So the other piece that we wanted to mention, and we're not going to go into it in too much detail, Instagram shopping has become pretty popular. And I will say, a week ago, I purchased, like, kind of, for me at least, kind of an expensive necklace just because I saw it, an Instagram ad. I loved it. I thought it was gorgeous. They targeted me so hard. I bought one or two things for them years ago. They targeted me so hard with this necklace. They got me good. It already arrived yesterday. I love it. I'm happy. They got a good amount of money for me. It's win-win. So we know it works, right? 35% of Instagram users will make a purchase on the Instagram platform. That seems hard. That seems like incentive to set it up. We have a resource to help you set that up, but it's something to consider. You can talk about it with your consultant and see if that makes sense for you. But we just want you to at least know about that as a tool and know that people actually do buy directly from Instagram, or they'll kind of shop, or they'll see that you have a shop, and it will make them more likely to go back to your website and maybe they'll make their final purchase on your website if they're not comfortable with making that purchase in app. Yeah, so 130 million people engage with shoppable Instagram posts monthly. I mean, that's high, right? So that's just a consideration. It's a little bit more intermediate, and we're doing beginner today, but we at least wanted to get you thinking about it. So we have about 5 minutes for questions. We packed a lot into our beginner workshop, so we hope this was valuable to you. We'll get around to questions as quick as possible. I answered a few by typing in the Q&A. Q&A is definitely the best way that we can make sure that we get to you. Questions about consulting. You can sign up on our website. We also have a link to it on our resource page, which also includes a library of links to previous recordings. So I'll pop that in the chat as well as we get to more questions. But thanks for joining today. Let's answer a few questions, Rachel. Someone asked about Reels being created in the business suite. I'll let you take that as I look for our resource page and share that.
Absolutely. So Reels are very much something that you're going to want to do in the Instagram app. It's set up in a way that makes it very easy for you to kind of put Reels together on your phone. Again, Reels are a little bit more advanced than what we're going to go into, but keep an eye out in the new year. We are definitely going to have a webinar coming up that is completely dedicated to setting up Reels on Instagram. So be on the lookout for that. I'm also seeing a question about claiming a name that reflects your business. So yeah, if I am understanding that correctly, you're going to want to use your business name, but if it's been used, that happens a lot, not a lot, but it happens on Instagram sometimes where you go to put in your business name and someone else already has it. There's really, unfortunately, there's not much that you can do in that scenario.
Add your location.
Yeah.
Zana Cakes Philly, Zana Cakes West Philly, or North Philly, or South Philly, or wherever you are. Add a little bit of geography in there to differentiate you so you still have your name.
How can I create a target audience to market to for sales? Do you want to take that one, Jamie?
I mean, if you're setting up an Instagram shop, I think it would really be any promotion that you did to that shop you could target. The shop itself you couldn't necessarily target. I mean, you can really with the visuals, but targeting is when you're putting money into a promotion and you are saying this should be promoted to these people with my money. Someone's asking, do I have to be on every social media platform? I definitely say no to that for
absolutely not. Yep.
For a lot of industries, the answer is no, you don't have to be in every social media platform. And it comes down to that target market research. And I would do that with my consultant. For travel industry, I would probably, if I had to pick one, I would probably pick Facebook.
Yeah, I think Facebook and Instagram would be good ones, especially, you know, travel, you likely have access to some beautiful pictures, so you could do some pretty stuff on Instagram. But again, it's really about looking at who your target audience is. Are you targeting Gen Z travel? Are you looking at young people traveling? Then that might be different. Then maybe you're looking more at TikTok and Instagram. So it's really nailing down your target audience before you decide which social media platforms you want to invest your time and potentially your dollars into. I would like to increase the diversity of outdoor recreation users. How do I reach these communities? Making sure that your content is relevant to that community, partnering with other organizations, tagging those other organizations, joining Facebook groups that are full of outdoor recreation enthusiasts are all ways that you can help reach that audience.
There are some questions about just general consulting and how that works with us. you sign up through the link on our website or on our resource page, you will get sent a welcome email with some next steps, which will include a link to set up your first appointment. It is your responsibility to click that link and set up your first appointment. It can be virtual, it can be over the phone, and it can be in person. Someone said they had an issue with the survey link.
Let me, I can try and send it again, but it'll also be sent in your follow-up email. So if that link is not working, be sure to check your follow-up email, but I will find it really quickly and resend it.
Yeah, please get all questions in the Q&A. There's a question, do you have Facebook Reel and Instagram Reel? I'm not quite sure what that means. If you want to clarify, we can answer that better. For anybody who has to go, because we are at 1 o'clock, I just wanted to say thank you for joining. Thanks to my co-pilot, Rachel. I love doing this webinar with you. I know
so fun.
We spoke quickly. We went through things quickly, but you will get the recording. We just wanted to get that content in, and look at it. We did it. We got it all in 1 hour. Someone's asking about the Canva recording. You can find our webinars, our webinar recordings on that resource page that I posted in the chat. Someone's asking, yeah, so this recording will actually be publicly available. So to answer the question of the person who wants to share it with their team, that is easy peasy.
Yeah, and you had to give your email to sign up for this webinar anyway, so you'll get a copy of it in your email in a few days, so you can also share it with them that way. All right, well, I think that's all of our questions. Of course, if you have any additional questions, you can always reach out to your consultant. They're happy to help you, or meet with a consultant for the first time, and then they'll be happy to help you. Thank you so much for joining us. We really had a wonderful time. Make sure to follow us on social media. We keep you up to date with all types of different things, and we're constantly sharing resources. So make sure that you're following us. Thank you so much for joining us on your lunch break. We had such a lovely time. Thank you to Jamie.
Rachel really does a good job, and you can maybe get some ideas from her as well. All the channels, we're on all of them.
Yes, we're everywhere. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We hope to see you again soon. We have lots of webinars coming up, and we'll have lots more in the new year. So we look forward to seeing all of you again soon. All right, bye everyone.